What's up, guys? You're welcome back to this forum. Once again, it's Tochi, and we are here in Tochi's Graphic Academy, the Genius Creators. As we begin, we pray for a fruitful tutorial. All right. Just as I promised in the previous tutorial, to proceed straight away with exposing you to Picsart application, precisely the interface and tools, and how you master its usage. I'll do just that because that's what this tutorial is about. So let's move straight into it. In order to achieve the purpose for which I'm doing this video, that's helping you to know about all the tools in Picsart, I will want to split this video into two, where I'll take half in this first video and then the next one will complete it by carrying on with the next half. All right. I want to pass this thing across because Picsart embeds a lot of tools, and so mastering them will only need discovery. Some of them I may not talk about them, but as you start using the app, you may discover them. So if you encounter any problem with a tool maybe I didn't talk about, you can hit me my DM and I'll help you with that. All right. So this happens to be my phone screen, and so the first thing is to launch Picsart. And so when you launch Picsart, so the first thing is to tap on this plus sign to lead you to the create interface. Now this happens to be the create interface, the photo portion. Now, since we are designing, we are not designing videos, we are not editing any stuff like that, and so you center much on the picture or photo aspect. Now let me pass this across. Designing is not difficult. Designing is just like preparing a food. And so you need your ingredients. Every design has elements. Every design has elements. It can be text, it can be images, it can be whatever. Now, you should first start from the background. And so when you agree on what you want to use to start, now the background you are choosing should knit with or should have connection with the main content of your message. And so if it is about something that deals with happiness, your background should sound or should be a color that depicts happiness. You understand? The images that you will choose should depict happiness. All right. So you start from the background. Now let me help you with how to select a picture. Now, this album you see here leads you to a section where you can select a picture from your gallery or any other place you have a picture within your files. So you can tap it. Now this is the section that you will be led to. And so you tap on gallery to add a picture. Let's use this guy's picture. All right. Sorry. Where is this picture? Okay, I have it here. Now, once you add the picture, I will introduce you to some of the tools we have here and how we can make use of them. I'm starting from this gold option. Below here, we see the gold option leading. Now, the gold option is a part that leads you to the premium packs. Now, when I say premium, when you tap there, it will lead you to sections where you'll be asked to subscribe or register. And if you register, you'll be given the elasticity to use a lot of options that Picsart embeds. And so if you don't want to fumble with it, or even if you don't want to register anything, then don't worry yourself with it. That notwithstanding, the other tools left are also gorgeous that you can make use of. But I want to pass this across. Looking at the crown on the gold option, any other tab, any other icon, any other tool which possess that icon, like this remove BG here, having the crown icon, it is not supposed to be used, because once you use them, you cannot save your work. You cannot save your work. Note that. Let me go to the tools and explain those things we have there. All right, I start from top here, crop. Now, what do we mean by crop? Now, crop is just about resizing an image according to dimensions. according to dimensions. Now the options we have here, you can tap this one to resize it to a square shape, to 3x4 shape, and note something here. The arrow we have on it will lead you to a rotatory option where tapping it again will turn it from the portrait, this is the portrait or vertical presentation, to the landscape. You understand? So at first it was 3x4. Now tapping it again will lead it to 4x3. The same thing applies to this one. It is 3x2. When you tap it again, it will be 2x3. So that's how that works. Now, this when you tap this one, it is to choose it to be a square Instagram design or portrait to be posted on Instagram. This one to be posted on Pinterest, and then that is for YouTube thumbnails. All right, let's move on. Let me explain this too. Now, this ruler you have here, its role is to rotate the picture. And so as I rotate it, you see what's happening. The image is rotated. So you just have to do or use it, and then if it presents the image in the way you expect it to be displayed, then you are good to go. If you don't want it, you tap on this cancel sign to return it to the initial point. Okay, let me move on to this rotate part. It is just flip rotate, as we all know. Now when you tap on it, the options that come is the one, I'm starting from the one on the left here, sorry. When you tap on it, it will flip the image to a 90 degrees direction leftwards. And so that is what's happening. This one will do it to the right, 90 degrees. This one will perform a mirror rotation. And so horizontally, it will reflect it to the left and then right. That is what it does. So if you have a design where the image you have, maybe according to the presentation on the design, maybe you want to turn it to the left. Maybe the person is viewing the right and you want to let the person face the left so that it will fit on your design. This is the tool to use. Okay. Now this one does the same thing but in a vertical form. Now let's go to perspective. Now perspective renders your work to a visual distance. If I say visual distance, it will make it appear that it is covering a distance where the part that is closer to your eye appears bigger and the part that is away from your eye appears smaller. And so let's try. You work on it using the same ruler or the compass rotatory distance. So once you tap on it and you decide to slide, you see what's happening. Now the part closer to me is expanded. You see, the part closer to me is expanded, and the part away from me looks squeezed or becomes smaller. So that's what's happening here. You can tap here to return it to the start. Then this one also does the same thing, but in a vertical form, you see. So the part closer to us has expanded vertically, then this one has squeezed. Okay, so let's return it back to where it was. All right. Now we move on to undo. Now the undo here, when you tap it, it returns it to the scratch. Okay. Now let me talk of the lock option here. It's very important. Now let's look at this one. Now, when you tap on it and it shows unlock, unlock means you can set your customized or freestyle cropping, where if you touch these buttons, these are buttons that you use to regulate the position of the cropping box. And so since it is at unlock, when you move it, it is only going to crop according to the part that you push in. You understand me? And so it sets to your own freestyle. But if you tap it and it shows lock, meaning since it is a square now, any part you hold and squeeze in, it will be squeezed, but the shape will keep the way it is. So since it is a square, as you squeeze in, it will also squeeze but remain the square. If, for instance, you set it to 4x3 and it's at lock, whenever you squeeze it, it is still 4x3. Note that. So when you set it to unlock, it unlocks to your own freestyle. Okay. Now we are done with this part, so we move straight away to tapping this check mark. It's used to confirm the crop size that you've chosen. So let's confirm this one. Now this is our work interface. Let's continue. Now, continue with this crop, free crop, and then shape crop. I will explain that in the subsequent video. They are at the cut out portion, so I'll do that. Now this disperse help you to show a disperse feature, and so this is how it functions. You use your hand to pass over the place that you want the disperse feature to show. After that, you tap on this arrow to confirm the dispersion. Once the dispersion shows, this is the disperse effect. As you can see. Now you can use this part to regulate it. All these tools here can be used to regulate how the feature should show. And if you want to erase too, you can use the erase sign and undo if you don't want it. Alright, now let's go back. Okay, now we go to clone. Now clone is a replication tool, so it does a replication of your work. Now the first way is how it works is that looking at the circular 2 line on it, the first thing is to know the area which you want to replicate. You want to do a repetition or a copy of. So let's say you want to make a repetition of the face. Okay, so you just make a single tap and you lay it on the face. So tap on the face. When it turns green, means it is ready to be copied. And so you choose which area do you want the copied face to be represented. And so let's say we want it to appear here. Now you touch that place and you rub over. So when you rub over the place, you see the face will be replicating there. And so that's how it works. Okay, so these are other tools you can use to erase, or you touch this one to add another button where you can touch and show where you want to replicate. So if say the hair is where you want to replicate, you just replicate it. That is all. Let's continue. Now this AI replace is a paid option, so we wouldn't talk about it. Now the stretch 2. Now this warp perform the role of sliding in and out. So we normally use it to treat shapes. Maybe you want hips, you want to slim someone, you just push in. So that's how it works. You want to slim someone, you want to inflate someone, you want to add shape, you want to slim, whatever you want to do. What it does is to work on the shape of someone or your image. Alright, let's move on to the swirl 2. Now that one, it works by producing a rotatory effect. So you touch and hold. Once you touch and hold, the feature will be showing. Now, I use it to create backgrounds, wonderful backgrounds. So let's say if you have the image like this, you touch and you see what is happening. Though it is distorting, but in the end, it creates wonderful backgrounds. So that's what is happening. Alright, now let's continue with this one. This one too does it in the rightward direction. Alright, so the rest lies on you. You can discover and all that. So the rest can squeeze in, can inflate, can restore. Restore is to return it to the previous shape. And so where it was, you can just return the whole distortion back to where you started from, or to its initial form. Okay, let's go back. Alright, I will not talk about motion. Motion is usually used for motion effects. So images that depict motion, like someone running and you want to show the speed behind the person or all that, you use the motion effect. Now let me go to adjust. It's very important. Now we use adjust to enrich a picture to improve the picture quality of your image. And sometimes we use it to treat a picture and adapt it to the chosen background. Okay, so let's go through its tools. Now this is brightness. Brightness exposes it to light. So when you send it to the right, it exposes it to more light, and then this one reduces the light. Contrast improves the color. That adds more deepness into the color. This one too reduces the sharpness of the color. Now clarity makes the image more clearer. So normally if you want to beautify an image, this is the tool we use, but don't over apply it. Note it. All right. Now saturation adds more sharpness to the color, and then on this left side too, it makes black and white. All right. Now the hue does the effect of changing the entire color of the work. So like this one, it changes the entire color of the work. So normally you don't need to use the hue, but there are some images when you change the entire color, they don't distort. For human beings, color can be green, and so you don't use hue on pictures that are humanic. Okay. Let's move on to highlight. That's according to its name, just highlight exposes it to more light, and then shadow to expose it to shadow. It makes it have more experience of shadow. Then the temperature makes it hot or cold. That is exposing it to more sun effect or exposing it to more cloudy effect. All right, let's move on. Okay, now the tilt shift. Now the tilt shift produces blur effects, and so looking at how the tool is, you see it has blurred this part, and exposed that part. So let's know how the tool works. The section between this area, the section between where the dot is, before these lines, is the part that is not affected by the fade. Now, when you treat the second part too is a semi-affected part, and the last section is the completely blur part. And you can alter the effect or the severity or degree of the blur using this button. Now you can expand it as you touch. You hold your two fingers together and then you use it to expand or close it. Now this radial, that's in a circular form. So just as I explained the linear one, you can use that to produce a bokeh effect. All right, that's very nice. Let's move on. Okay, it appears the perspective, the size and all those things I've explained earlier, and so I'm done with the tool portion. Now let me end or conclude here because of the length of the video, so that in the subsequent ones I will continue. Thank you very much, and I believe it was a nice time with you, and I'm sure you are grasping whatever I'm teaching. And then if you have any question, you can just link up and then I will sort you out. God bless you as I conclude here. Bye-bye.